Podcast narration, Steve Jobs, The Exclusive Biography by Walter Isaacson. Every once in a while, a person arrives who doesn't just build things. They change the way the world thinks, feels, and dreams. Steve Jobs was one of them. The man behind Apple, Pixar, and some of the most iconic innovations of our time. Was as complex as the devices he created, elegant, simple, and yet infinitely layered. Walter Isaacson's Steve Jobs, The Exclusive Biography isn't just a life story. It's a deep portrait of creativity, obsession, genius, and imperfection. Based on over 40 interviews with Jobs himself and hundreds more with family, friends, and colleagues, this book reveals the human being behind the legend, the contradictions, the brilliance, and the fire that shaped a generation. Let's walk through his journey, from the garage to the global stage, and the lessons hidden in every phase of his extraordinary life. The early years, the rebel child. Steve Jobs was born in 1955, given up for adoption as an infant, and raised by Paul and Clara Jobs in California. He grew up curious, defiant, and restless, drawn not to rules, but to why the rules existed. As a child, he loved taking apart machines, finding beauty in their hidden order. But more than anything, he was driven by wonder, a need to understand how things worked and how they could be better. His early life set the tone for his future, part artist, part engineer, part dreamer. He often said, "Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your inner voice." Even as a teenager, he lived by that principle. High voltage signed college, Zen, and searching for meaning. Jobs attended Reed College but dropped out after 6 months. Not because he didn't care, but because he cared too much about what mattered to him. He audited classes that fascinated him, like calligraphy, lessons that would later define Apple's design philosophy. During this time, he explored spirituality, traveled to India, and immersed himself in Zen Buddhism. He learned about focus, simplicity, and the power of presence, qualities that became the DNA of his creations. He wasn't chasing success, he was chasing meaning. And yet, meaning found him through creation. The birth of Apple. In 1976, in his parents' garage, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak founded Apple. They weren't just building computers, they were building tools for the mind. Jobs' vision was simple but revolutionary. Let's make computers so simple, even non-engineers can use them. The Apple II became a massive success, and soon, Apple grew from a garage startup into a global company. But behind the genius was also intensity. Jobs was known for his perfectionism, his reality distortion field. He could convince others, and even himself, that anything was possible if they just believed enough. This obsession drove innovation, but also tension. He clashed with his team, pushed them beyond limits, and demanded beauty not just in what users saw, but in what they never saw. Even the inside of the computer had to be perfect. For him, technology was not engineering alone, it was art, downfall and exile. By 1985, after internal conflicts, Jobs was forced out of Apple, the company he had built from nothing. It was devastating, but this was also his greatest transformation. He once said, "It was awful tasting medicine, but I guess the patient needed it." He started to new ventures, Next and Pixar. Next never became a commercial success, but its software later powered the rebirth of Apple. Pixar, on the other hand, changed entertainment forever. With Toy Story, Jobs showed the world that technology could tell stories that touch the heart. During his years away from Apple, he grew, not softer, but wiser. He learned leadership wasn't just about control, but about vision and trust. The return, Apple's second renaissance. In 1997, Apple was struggling, and Jobs returned, like a storm. He streamlined the company, cut unnecessary products, and reimagined what technology could be. Then came the revolution. The iMac, iPod, iPhone, and iPad. Each product didn't just sell, it changed human behavior. The iPod didn't just store music, it gave people a soundtrack to their lives. The iPhone didn't just make calls, it became an extension of the self. Jobs had a gift. He could see not what people wanted, but what they would want before they knew it themselves. He believed in design as philosophy, simplicity that hides complexity. He often said, "Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works." The man behind the machine. But Isaacson's biography doesn't romanticize him. Jobs was a paradox, both visionary and volatile, inspiring and infuriating. He could be brutally honest, even cruel. But his goal was never comfort, it was excellence. He demanded greatness because he believed deeply that humans are capable of more than they think. Jobs had an artistic temperament. He cared less about being liked and more about creating something that would last. And that's why, even years after his passing, his vision continues to shape the world. Legacy and philosophy. As cancer began to claim his body, Jobs faced mortality with the same intensity he brought to life. He reflected deeply on death, saying, "Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose." He realized the greatest act of design is not a product, it's a life well lived. His legacy wasn't just Apple. It was a mindset that innovation is an act of love, that simplicity is sacred, that the ones who dare to think differently truly do change the world. Closing reflection. So what does Steve Jobs teach us? That creativity is not chaos, it's clarity. That success isn't born from safety, it's born from faith. That art and technology, when fused with purpose, can move the human spirit. In the end, Jobs didn't just build devices, he built dreams. He didn't just sell products, he sold possibility. And through every pixel, every product, every story, he left behind a reminder that the world belongs to those brave enough to imagine it differently. Headphone from Listening House, where words reach you before you find them.